Sampurita pamita paramita balena Vidvansiyo kila kilesa Samohajalam Teneva landa araham Arahoti namam Vandami buddha mamalam Hadaye tapetva Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Dassana kamo silavatang saddhammang soto micchati Vinaya majjera malang save sandoti vujjati. The Most Venerable Mahasangha, nuns, friends in the Dhamma. Today our topic is Saddha, confidence of faith in the Buddha's enlightenment. When we discuss the teachings in Buddhism, Saddha is a very important quality that we should have at the very beginning of the path of liberation. That is why it is said, Saddha Molika Sabbepi Kusala Dhamma. Saddha or confidence is the foundation of all the wholesome activities. That is very important. Saddha Bijang. Saddha or confidence is a seed. It is a spiritual faculty. It is a power. It helps us to go forward on the path of deliverance. First of all, we should understand the nature of Saddha. Saddha means Saddhati Tathagatassa Bodhin. Confidence in the Buddha's enlightenment. That is the main meaning of Saddha. However, we can see this word in several places in Buddhism. Especially we can see it in Arya Pariyasana Sutta. That is very important. We usually think that Saddha belongs to Buddhism. Actually, it is not true. Saddha is explained actually before Buddhism origined. That Buddha says when he was seeking wholesome, when he associated Alara Kalama and Uddakarama Putta, according to Arya Pariyasana Sutta, Buddha says he understood that not only Alara Kalama had Saddha, I also had Saddha. Not only Uddakarama Putta had Saddha, I also had Saddha. Before Buddha attained enlightenment, the Siddhartha Tapasa, he associated with some other religious people, ascetic people such as Alara Kalama, Uddakarama Putta, Siddhartha Gautama Tapasa associated with them. He was following some teachings with them before he attained enlightenment. After he attained enlightenment, the Buddha says, when I was seeking wholesomeness, or when I was seeking enlightenment, when I associated Alara Kalama and Uddakarama Putta, they also had Saddha, I also had Saddha. Not only they had Saddha, but I also had Saddha. That is very important. Here we should understand the deep meaning of Saddha or confidence. Their Saddha means confidence in what they practice. It is very important. Saddha or confidence is opposite of Vichikicha. Vichikicha means doubt or skeptical doubt. Saddha is the opposite of Vichikicha. Vichikicha is a nivarana, hindrance, and it is a sanyojana, cankers. But Saddha is a good quality. It is a wholesome thought. Vichikicha means we always doubt before we practice or do something. Before we associate someone, we always doubt. If we have this doubt, actually we can go forward with some activities or associating with someone. Therefore, very beginning, we should have confidence in what we practice, with whom we associate. So that is very important quality. Actually, in this life, we believe a lot of things with confidence. Sometimes we can see some people doubt everything. Some people may say that I don't believe anything without seeing. I think you have seen those people. But Venerable says, we believe a lot of things with confidence. Even we believe our birthday, with confidence. We don't remember the birthday. We believe it with confidence that our parents have said. And also we believe our parents in Saddha, in confidence, with confidence. And like that, a lot of things, when we go to a doctor, first of all, we have a confidence. That is why we go there and we get medicine. So on. When we practice Dhamma, here also, we should have confidence. But that confidence is not just a blind faith. It is an understandable confidence that we have when we come to Buddhism. This is very important. Our confidence depends on that whom we associate with. That is very important. And also what we listening to. Listening to Dhamma helps us to develop our confidence or Saddha. And also there are 3 characteristics of the person who has confidence. Dassana kamo silavatang saddhamman sotu miccati vineya macchera malang save saddoti vicchati. The person who has confidence has 3 qualities. Dassana kamo silavatang. He likes to see virtuous persons. And also saddhamman sotu miccati. He likes to listen to Dhamma. Vinaya Macchera Malang, he always try to overcome greed. He practices generosity. These are the 3 qualities that we can see as a person who has confidence. I think all of you know, we also have these 3 qualities always. We always like to see virtuous persons, and always we listen to Dhamma. Always we practice generosity. These are the primary qualities that we can see as a faithful person in the spiritual path. And we can see Saddha or confidence in Buddhism several places. Especially we can see it as a Indriya Dhamma within Pancha Indriya. There are 5 spiritual faculties that we should develop. Saddha, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. And also Bala Dharma as a power. Saddha Bala, Virya Bala, Sati Bala, Samadhi Bala, Panya Bala, there we can see it. And also, having confidence encourages us to go forward on this path. When we comes to the Dhamma, first of all we have the first step of Saddha. It means, it says in Buddhism that Amolika Saddha, very surface level confidence. It has no strong roots, Amolika Saddha. Then little by little we go forward. When we associate the triple gem, the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, our confidence gradually increases. Then we become the Akaravati Saddha. We become the confidence with having understanding. And also, there are two main qualities of Saddha. One of them is Saddhana Lakkana, the characteristic of trust, and Sampasadana Lakkana, the characteristic of tranquility or being pleased. And we are happy with associating the Buddha's message. When we see this concept in Buddhism, when Buddha meets a person with his some psychic energy, such as Indriya Paro Pariyatti Jnana, he decides how much that person has developed these qualities in his previous lives. Saddha Indri, Sati Indri, so on. Buddha understands that person's spiritual faculties with his spiritual energy, psychic energy. And also, we can see some special persons as soon as they listening to Buddha's name, they have come to meet the Buddha. Such as Sudatta, Anathapindika Siddhatuma, Bahya Daruchirya, Pokusati, Sela Brahmana. Those are the persons that we can see as soon as they heard the Buddha's word, the word of Buddha, they have come to see the Buddha because of their wishes that they have done in their previous lives. They immediately came to Buddha and listening to Dhamma. But sometimes we can see some people, when other people are going to visit or see the Buddha, they also have come to see the Buddha, and by listening Dhamma, they have developed their Saddha and they come to the Dhamma. Here, when we develop our confidence, listening to Dhamma is very, very important. And especially, there is a special concept in Buddhism, Dukkhopanisa Saddha. Understanding the truth or noble truth helps us to develop our Saddha. When someone listening to Buddha's message, especially the nature of suffering, they have understood the Dhamma and their confidence has developed. And here, it is very important to understand the Buddha's message. That is why Buddha says, Yo dhammam passati, so mam passati, yo mang passati, so dhammam passati. He who sees the Dhamma sees me, he who sees me sees the Dhamma. Again Buddha says, Yo patija samuppadam passati, so dhammam passati, yo dhammam passati, so patisampadam passati. He who sees the dependent origination sees the Dhamma. He who sees the Dhamma sees the Paticca or the dependent origination.
Okay, can you explain what's the exactly Saddha in five bala and five? powers?
Yes, Bhante, we are going to explain it little by little. Yes, Saddha Indriya, we have Saddha Indriya first, then we come to the Bala Dhamma. It has two levels of Saddha. Saddha Indriya means in Buddhism, we give the priority to it. We do everything giving the priority to the triple gem in the Indriya level. And Bala level it is more powerful. And however, little by little, from the beginning to end, we will discuss. When we see the Buddha's message, there are three reasons why we need to find a spiritual teacher and his noble message. According to Tayodhamma Sutta, Buddha explains there are three reasons that we need to find a spiritual teacher and his sublime message. If these three things are not in this world, we don't need to find a spiritual teacher and his noble message. What are these three reasons? Jati, Jara, Marana. Jati means birth, Jara means aging or decay, Marana means death. Day by day we go to old age. That is why we need to find a spiritual path. And also one day we die. That is also one of the reasons why we need to follow a path. And also we have another birth. That is why we need to practice this Dhamma. Having this understanding, when we listen to Dhamma, especially we are confident in Buddha's message. Saddhate Tathagatasya Bodhin. Here we can see, according to some references in Buddhism, there are three things which relate to Saddha. Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, Sikha, and Paticcasamuppada. As the result of Saddha or confidence, we have no doubt in Buddha. Buddhena kankati. We are confident in Dhamma. We have no doubt in the Dhamma. And Sanghena kankati. We have no doubt in the Sangha, Buddha's noble disciples. And Sikkahena kankati. We have no doubt in Sikha or training or Tisikha, Sila Samadhi Panya. And Paticcasamuppadaya kankati. We have no doubt in the dependent origination. And first of all, when we associate the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, our confidence gradually increases. You know, when we meet a Buddha, seeing Buddha's behavior, his appearance and his words and his spiritual energies, our confidence gradually increases. But it comes to permanent with listening to his Dhamma. Buddha explains his Dhamma gradually. First of all, he explains very primary things in Buddhism. Dhanakata, Silakata, Saggakata, Kamanang Adinavan, so on. He follows the gradual path, Anupubbi Kata. When Buddha met a very gifted person, Buddha directly explained the deep meaning of the Dhamma, such as Patisampada, Chaturarya Satya. Those are the main topics Buddha directly explained when he met a very gifted person. But generally, Buddha followed the gradual path. Dhanakata, the stories of generosity. Silakata, the stories of virtue. Saggakata, the stories of going to heaven. Those are the primary things that Buddha explained. When we listen to this Dhamma, we understand it and we follow it. When we practice dana, we can see the results. Piti mudarang vindati data. He who has a generous heart has a lot of happiness. When we practice generosity, our mind is so pure and calm. And also when we practice sila, we can see the results. Especially when we practice 5 precepts, we can see the results. We have no fear, no doubt as the result of this path. Dhammo have rakkati dhammacharing. He who practices Dhamma is protected by the Dhamma. And when we go to forward, when we practice Samatha Bhavana, such as loving kindness meditation, Anapanasati meditation, when we concentrate our mind, we are able to reduce hindrances little by little. We can concentrate our mind by reducing negative thoughts, especially hindrances, such as sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, skeptical doubts. These are the negativities, especially hindrances that we reduce throughout practicing samatha or bhavana. When we follow these qualities, little by little, our confidence increases, and also we can see the results, we can see the qualities of the Dhamma. Dharme guna, sanditiko, akaliko, visible results, immediately effective. These are the qualities of the Dhamma we can see as the result of practicing Buddha's message. This is the way how we develop our Saddha or confidence of faith. And also then Buddha explains his message, the essence. The essence of Buddhism is that the Four Noble Truths or 5 aggregates or the dependent origination. These 3 things are interrelated. Four Noble Truths, the dependent origination, and the 5 aggregates. These 3 things are very important. These 3 things are interrelated. Four Noble Truths, 5 aggregates, and the dependent origination. As the result of developing our understanding of these 3 topics, we find the path. We meet the path. What we should practice to achieve the liberation. First of all, we understand the nature of our life throughout listening to Dhamma with the association of good friendship. Especially Buddhism explains how suffering arises and how suffering ceases. The nearest reason of suffering is that attachment or craving. But we should understand the very first reason, which is avidya. Avidya is the very first reason, but the nearest reason is craving. If we need to overcome nearest reason, we should destroy the main reason, which is avidya or ignorance or delusion. What is avidya? Avidya can be explained in various stages in Buddhism. One of them is unknowing or lack of knowledge of karmic law. And the second thing is lack of knowledge of arising and ceasing of suffering. Here, it is very important to understand the nature of avidya. When we see something, when we hear something, when we experience something through our senses, what happens to our life? When we see something, we can contact something through our eye, and also we can have eye consciousness. But the very important thing, when we recognize something through our eye consciousness, our first experience has ceased And also we recognize everything through our mind consciousness. When we see something, we can get the color through our eye consciousness. But when we understand the first experience, we recognize everything through our mind consciousness. That is why it is said in Buddhism, Sabbe Dhamma Mano Vijnana Dhatuya Vinyeya. Everything should be realized by mind consciousness. The very important thing, when we understand something through our mind consciousness, the very first experience as the vipaka level. As an example, when we see something, our eye arises, form arises, eye consciousness, eye contact. These are the primary things in the vipaka level. They arise and cease at the moment when we see something, when we understand it, the very first experience has already ceased. The very first experience is neither wholesome nor unwholesome. The very first experience is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. That is neutral. That is just vipaka or result. But the very important thing, we are unable to recognize something in the vipaka level or result level. That is why Buddhism says, Na panchahi vijnanehi kinchi dhammang pativijanati anyatra abhinipatamatta. According to Jnana Vibhanga, in Vibhanga Prakarana, it says very clearly, we are unable to recognize something through five consciousnesses. What are the five consciousnesses? Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, body consciousness, tongue consciousness. These are the five consciousnesses. We are unable to recognize something completely in this level through these five consciousnesses. We recognize everything through mind consciousness. If we can see this reality, we know very well, if our mind is fixed in the outside material world, when we recognize something, it means we are in ignorance. It means we are in the bhava, the process of becoming. We always think something with some forms. Even we dream with some forms. Actually, even though our mind is fixed in material world, at that moment we completely deal with our mind and mind consciousness. But our ignorance doesn't believe it. Our ignorance doesn't accept it. As soon as we see something, we hear something, we smell something, we think that that experience is still in the present world. Actually, Buddhism doesn't reject the material world. There is a material world which consists with four fundamental elements: Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo. It depends on our spiritual faculties. It depends on our senses. Senses depends on our present mental situation. According to our present mental situation, we create our senses. According to senses, we experience the world. And also, when we understand it, the first experience has ceased. This is the place where firstly we should understand on the path of liberation for our understanding. And if we can trust in this reality, if we can confident in this Buddha's message, if we understand this is the thing that Buddha has realized when Buddha attained enlightenment, this is the place where we are confident in. And also, this is the place where we can trust in and we can see the qualities of the Dhamma. Sandittika, Akalika. Sandittika means visible results. And akalika, immediately effective. As soon as we see this reality, when we see something, if we know very well, now I understand this form through my mind consciousness. And if we know very well that the form has ceased in the vipaka level, then immediately our attachment and even detachment cease. We come to insight. That is insight meditation, vipassana bhavana. Then we have no desire, no ill will in the outside world. This is the place where we can see the visible results of the Dhamma. With this understanding, our inner courage gradually increases. Then we meet the path. When we understand this nature, when we are ignorant, we create the world avidya paccaya sankhara. As the result of arising ignorance, mental formations arise. Sankhara paccaya vijnana. Because of mental formations, consciousness arises. Then it ends with sorrow and lamentation. Reason is that we depend on outside world. Whenever our mind is fixed in the outside world, it means outside world decides on our happiness or suffering. We have no real freedom. Our freedom, liberation or emancipation depends on this understanding. If we have understanding that I understand this world through my mind consciousness and the formal world has already ceased. As soon as we experience something, we immediately look at inside. What is the reason? If our mind is fixed in the outside world, we have no real freedom since outside world controls us. And if we want freedom or liberation, we should look at inside. For that, first of all, we should have this understanding, then we should always in practice. What is the practice? Practice is that Sikha or three trainings, Sila, Samadhi and Panya. In short, living in mindfulness. If we are mindful, immediately we come to mindfulness. As soon as we see something, other ordinary people respond the outside world with ignorance, but we also respond the outside world with mindfulness, taking care of our mind. The way how to take care of our mind is that living in mindfulness. For that is very important. In many discourses, Buddha says very clearly, Adimeva kusalesu dhammesu parisuddhehi. At the very beginning of the path of liberation, we should have very pure kusala. We should cleanse our path. How do we cleanse our path? Silancha suvisuddhang dittincha ujuka. Sila or virtue should be purified and we should have direct, straight vision. Sila and vision both are very important. Both of them should be interrelated. What is the sila? Sila means discipline in our speech and behavior. Vision means this vision, understanding of dependent origination, Patisampada. What is the Patisampada? When we are ignorant, we have created suffering. We are in this circle of suffering. Whenever we are away from ignorance, practicing mindfulness, we are away from suffering. The reason is that Avijjayatve vasiyasi viraga nirodha sankhara nirodho. With the complete cessation of ignorance, mental formations consist with ignorance gradually cease. Then we are away from samsaric circle. With this understanding, we trust in this message that is the characteristic of Saddha, Saddhana Lakkana. Not only that, we have Sampasadana Lakkana. Sampasadana means we are happy with this understanding. We are happy with the Buddha's message, his Dhamma, and his noble disciples. That is why contemplating on the Buddha's qualities is a meditation technique. Contemplating of the qualities of the Dhamma is a meditation technique. Contemplating on the qualities of the Sangha also is a meditation technique that purifies our mind. As the result of having this Saddha, in our spiritual world, we meet these three things, the triple gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Always we think about these three things. In a day, mostly we remember these three things: the Buddha's enlightenment, his message, and his noble Sangha. Not only that, we gradually come to the practice. What is the practice? Three trainings: Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. We do everything giving the priority to practice this path. What is the reason? Now we have Saddha. Saddha means confidence. Confidence means in a day what we do for our happiness. We know we all like happiness. We do everything in the name of happiness. Now, if we do something in a day for happiness, sometimes we study for degrees, and we do some service for the world for our inner peace. Among them, when we come to this understanding, we know very well our real happiness depends on the reducing of our negative thoughts, craving, anger, and delusion. For that, we always give the priority to practice this path. Then we always keep our mind in mindfulness. We take care of our mind. The way how to take care of our mind is that mindfulness. Mind fills with happiness, mindfulness. When we have no real happiness, it means we have no mindfulness. The reason is that we are controlled by the outside world. Whenever we are unhappy, be sure that we are controlled by the outside world because of our ignorance. If we want to overcome suffering, we should overcome delusion. If we want to overcome delusion, we should have this understanding about the dependent origination. Not only that, we should practice this path in the maximum level. We should practice mindfulness always. We should increase the duration of practice in mindfulness. Our complete success of spiritual life depends on the duration of practice in mindfulness. We should add mindfulness to our breathing in and out. In every step of breath in and out, if we can apply mindfulness with this understanding, it means we are on the path of spiritual happiness. With this understanding, now little by little we go forward. We give the priority to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, Sikha, Padisambhada, and these qualities, our Saddha is like a main quality, main power. That means Indriya. Indriya means giving priority. Pramukhartaya. We do everything in our day-to-day life giving the priority to our Saddha. If we have Saddha or confidence, it means our virya gradually develop our inner motivation. Buddhism says very clearly, if a person has confidence, his energy absorbs his entire life through his skin to his skeleton. Then, giving the priority to this practice, he does everything. Then he is confident in Buddha's message, and also he has energy, virya, he lives mindfully, and he concentrates his mind, samadhi, and also samahito bhikkhave bhikkhu yathabhutam pajanati. When his mind gains concentration, he reflects on the world reality as it is. He reflects on the three characteristics impermanence, suffering, and selflessness. Here we should understand very important quality in Buddhism, which is anicca. When we ask someone what is anicca, we mostly say that changing. Changing also one of the characteristics of anicca, but it is not the complete meaning of anicca. There are two words we can see in Buddhism, viparinama and anicca. Viparinama is changing. Anicca means impermanence. Actually, viparinama can be seen by anyone. Even scientists dividing atoms, they have realized, they have understood changing, viparinama. Changing can be realized by anyone. Now we are young, little by little we are going to old age. Now we are healthy, one day we are going to sicknesses. Now we are living, one day we are subject to die. These are the things which is changing viparinama. We all can understand viparinama very easily, but impermanence is not like that. What is impermanence? Impermanence means uppadavaya dhammino. It has a very special meaning. Ahutva sambhutang hutva nabhavisati. According to Anupada Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, it explains ahutva sambhvanti, hutva pativedenti. In Patisambhida Magga and other many sources we can see the nature of anicca. Ahutva sambhutang hutva nabhavisati. Not being occurred comes to occurrence. Being occurred will not go to occurrence. For example, when we do this sound, this sound didn't come to the present from the past. This sound will not go to future from the present. This sound arises and ceases at the moment. And also very important thing, this sound arises because of some reasons. Because of my effort, my finger, my ears. Because of these reasons, this sound arises at the moment. But this sound doesn't belong to any reason. Because of some reasons, at the present moment, this sound arises, but this sound doesn't belong to any reason. Like that, when we see something through my eye, form, lights, eye consciousness, with these all reasons, the form arises at the moment with my consciousness. Without any reason, this understanding doesn't arise. But this result, form, what I say, doesn't belong to any reason. But our ignorance doesn't believe it. When someone blames us, we immediately see that this person blames me. We bind this sound to this person. If he blames me, I get angry with him. If he praises me, I attach to him. The reason is that we always bind this sound to this person. Actually, because of this person, the sound arises, but this sound doesn't belong to that person. This experience doesn't belong to even my senses. Because of these reasons, this experience arises at the moment with the arising of some reasons, and immediately that experience ceases as the result of ceasing of these reasons. And also the present experience influences the next experience, but the present experience as it is, it doesn't go to the next moment. That is the nature of this experience. Our previous thought influences the present thought, and present thought influences the next thought, but it doesn't go to permanently as it is. That is the difference in our experience. By listening to Dhamma, we are confident in this understanding, but very important thing, first of all, we trust it in listening, but when we come to this experience, we don't need more confidence. Then confidence gone, but we understand this message, and also we are happy with this message and the person who explained this message, but we don't believe more after we come to this experience.
So
One day,
until at the moment we enlighten. As long as we are not enlightened.
yes, not only enlightenment, actually, that is the thing that I am going to say. When we come to Sotapanna stream entry, we believe it, we trust in. After we become Sotapanna, we don't have no more trust in or believing. Not only that, for example, one day there was a Gahapati or householder named Chitta Gahapati. He met Nigantanath Putta. Nigantanath Putta asked Chitta Gahapati that whether you trust in the second jhana, a concentration without vitakka and vichara, do you believe it? What did Chitta Gahapati say? He said, no, I don't believe, I don't trust the second jhana. The concentration without vitakka and vichara, I don't believe. What did he say? He said that I don't need to believe. The reason is that I have experienced this. Already I have become the second jhana. Therefore, I don't need to trust in a jhana or concentration without vitakka and vichara. It doesn't mean that he doubted. He has no doubt. And also he has no confidence in too. Why is that? Already he knows it. That is his own experience. So when we come to Sotapanna, until we come to Sotapanna, we should have confidence in the Sotapanna Magga. But after we become the Sotapanna stream entry, our confidence in Sotapanna is over. Then it is our own experience. Going on this path, finally, when we attain Nibbana, there are some discourses we can see in Salayatana Sangyutta in Sangyutta Nikaya. There it says that there are some persons, they say that I explain enlightenment, I say my understanding, without Saddha. Anyatra Saddhaya, apart from faith. Anyatra Ruchya, apart from personal preferences. Anyatra Anusava, apart from oral tradition. Anyatra Akara Parivitakka, apart from personal reflection. Even Anyatra Ditti Nijana Kantiya, acceptance of a view after pondering. Without Saddha, I explain my experience. After a person attains enlightenment, he explains his spiritual success, his spiritual result. But he explains everything without confidence. Why is that? He has no more confidence or faith. Why is that? He has already attained the enlightenment. Until he attains the enlightenment, he should have confidence or faith in the final goal. But after he attained enlightenment, he explained his experience without anusava or listening, without saddha, apart from confidence.
What's the sutta Bhanta you mentioned that?
Yes, Attinuko Pariyaya Sutta. There are several discourses nearby. We can see Salayatana Sangyutta in Sangyutta Nikaya. Not only that, when we refer Dhammapada, it says very clearly, Asaddo Agatanyuja Sandityocha yo naro Hatavakaso Vantaso Save Uttama Poriso, which comes in Dhammapada in Arahanta Vagga. One of qualities of Arahantas is that Asaddo. Saddha has main two characteristics. One of them is the Saddhana Lakkana, the characteristic of trust. That has finished. But Saddha has another quality, Sampasadana Lakkana. Sampasadana Lakkana means the characteristic of tranquility. Actually, that is here. Arahantas have Sampasadana Lakkana.
Because they have indriyas, right?
Yes.
Five indriyas are developed.
Already they have indriyas.
Saddha is one indriya.
Sadhana Lakshana is over, but they have Sampasadana Lakhana. They are pleasant to the person who explained this message. That is why Reverend Sariputta, when he went to bed, before he go to bed, he sees where is my teacher, Reverend Assaji, and he keep his head to direct into the place where Reverend Assaji was. Keeping his head to the Assaji's direction, he slept, respecting him. What is the reason? Reverend Assaji is the person who explained this message to Reverend Sariputta first time. Therefore, Reverend Sariputta respected Bhante Assaji. That is Sampasadana Lakhana. Savakas, as disciples, we respect the Buddha. We have Sampasadana Lakkana forever. But Saddhana Lakshana, after we at enlightenment, it is finished. We have nothing to faith in. The reason is that is our own experience. Then we have our own experience, then we have no more confidence or faith. Until that, we should have confidence. Until we attain Sotapanna, we should be confident in Sotapanna. But after we attain Sotapanna, we have no confidence in Sotapanna. But still we have confidence in Sakadagami. After we attain Sakadagami, the confidence in Sakadagami is over. So when we attain enlightenment, our confidence of faith in enlightenment is over, but still we respect the Buddha because we have Sampasadana Lakkana. We are pleased to the Buddha. We are happy with Buddha's qualities and his enlightenment. And in this situation, we gradually develop Indriya, Saddhindriya, Satindriya, so on. And it comes to more power, we say that Saddha Bala, Virya Bala, Sati Bala, so on. And according to Kitagiri Sutta, we can see the gradual path of Saddha or confidence. Kitagiri Sutta explains the nature of Saddha. Saddha jato upasankamati. If a person has a confidence, a little bit confidence, he goes to a person who explains this message. Saddha jato upasankamati. He who has confidence visits the spiritual teacher. Upasankamitva pairupasati. When he visits that teacher, he associates with him. Upasankamitva pairupasati. Pairupasanto sotang odhati. Associating with him, he pay his attention to him. And sotang odahitva dhamman sunati. Ohita soto dhamman sunati. Then he listening to Dhamma. Sutva dhamman dhareti. Having listening to Dhamma, he remembers what he learned. Datanam dhammanam attang upaparikkati. Further, he reflects on its meaning. Attang upaparikkanto dhammanijjhana khamanti. While reflecting on the meaning, he gains a reflective acceptance of these teachings. Dhammanijjhana kantiya sati chando jayati. Then his efforts gradually increases. And chandadato usahati. Having made the effort, the weights it up. And usahitva tuleti. Next, having weighted it up, he attempts to go on the path. So on, until panya, he gradually goes forward. And we start this spiritual journey with confidence. It ends with panya or wisdom.
Yeah, Bhante, it's not about believing Buddha or Dhamma or Sangha, right?
Here, it doesn't say directly Saddha or confident, but
I think his Saddha means the about seeking spirituality or delighting in spirituality or having faith about spirituality, not believing in anyone else. Like you said.
At the beginning, Bhante, we have Saddha, and then number 7, he gains a reflective acceptance of those teachings, like Vijjana Kamati. That is like more rooted Saddha.
yes,
According to that, Saddha is arise because of dukkha, not about Buddha or something.
the link that combine Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha is Dhamma.
Then you said the Aripariyasana Sutta, Alar Kalang Uddagrama had Saddha and Virya, Sati, Samadhi.
Yes, he was confident in what he practiced.
That's why I'm saying it's...
Here also that, if we are confident in our practice, we practice through the Dhamma, what we heard. And also, when we are confident in Dhamma, it means we are confident in the person who explained this message. That is why Saddhati Tathagatassa Bodhing. Saddha means in Buddha that we trust in Buddha's enlightenment, not Buddha's physical body. And also Dhamma means the Patisampada. Sangha means Patisangha. So Patipanna, Ujupatipanna, Nyayapatipanna, this message, what they practice. Dhamma is the link that combine Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Through the Dhamma, we understand the Buddha. Through the Dhamma, we realize the Dhamma. Through the Dhamma, we understand the Sangha who follow this message. Dhamma is very important. Dhamma, it combines with Saddha. We start with the Saddha. Saddha jato upasankamati. Because of Saddha, we come to the Dhamma. That Saddha little by little increases, develops until we attain enlightenment.
But can you say the first Saddha is arising based on a person? And then we listen and then we develop more trust in the Dhamma. At the beginning, it's about the teacher, right? About the person who practices.
Yes, Bhante. Actually, when we see the Buddha's message,
And
this, yes,
in person has not even heard the Dhamma.
sometimes, for example, when we see Rattapala, because he came to the Buddha, he saw the persons who were going to meet the Buddha. And also he listening to that Buddha's qualities from other people. That is why he went to meet the Buddha. Before they came to the Buddha, they have already heard about the Buddha. Buddha's glory was everywhere in that time. And that is why most people came to Buddha. But after they listening to the Dhamma, their Saddha gradually increased. But they have Saddha Bija, and the seed was there. They came to Buddha having the seed of Saddha. In their mind, a little bit Saddha they had. That is why they came to the Sasana. But after they come into the Buddha and Dhamma, after listening to Dhamma, they develop their Saddha little by little. They develop it to the maximum level. As a result of developing Saddha to the maximum level, other spiritual faculties also gradually increase to the maximum level. Viriya, Samadhi, Panyata. And here we specially discuss the nature of Saddha. One of the characteristics of Saddha is that Saddhana Lakhana, the characteristic of trust. And the second one is that we are so happy with this Dhamma and the person who delivered this message. And Saddha is more important to go forward. Saddha means the confidence in our practice for happiness. If we practice something today for our happiness, that is our priority. If we think that earning money is the priority, that is the main thing that we can gain happiness, we give the priority to it. And if we think that reducing the unwholesome roots is the highest way that we can gain happiness, we give the priority to it. Like that, if we have this understanding, we know very well our real success, real happiness depends on reducing negative thoughts completely from our mind. Then we dedicate our entire life to practice the Dhamma. What is the practice? Practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. When we speak, we use right speech, Samma Vaca. When we do something physically, it belongs to Samma Kammanta, right action. When we earn money, it belongs to right livelihood. When we concentrate our mind, it belongs to right concentration. When we practice mindfulness, it belongs to right mindfulness. Finally, we breathe every moment mindfully, reflecting on impermanence of five aggregates. Our entire life is that five aggregates: form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. These five things are our life. They are our life. Except these five things, we have nothing. Every moment we create these five things. These are impermanent. Every moment these five things arise and cease. When we see this reality, we completely depend on this understanding, wisdom, reflecting on impermanence. It means we have created a refuge within us. We don't depend any person or anything. Then we don't depend on even the Buddha, even the Sangha. We completely depend on the Dhamma. Dhamma Deepa Bhikkave Viharata Dhamma Saranana Anya Sarana. Dwell with the Dhamma as an island, as a refuge, with no other refuge. They are We don't depend on even our physical body. We know very well this physical body is subject to sickness, death, and decay. We completely depend on this understanding with confidence and wisdom reflecting on impermanence. We start this spiritual path with the confidence in what the Buddha explained. Buddha's message, how suffering arises and how suffering ceases. Whenever we are ignorant about this world, we are in the samsaric circle, avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, so on. When we are wise and mindful, then our circle changes. Avidjayatve vasesi viraga nirodha, sankhara nirodha, vijnana nirodho, so on. With the complete cessation of ignorance, mental formations cease. With the cessation of mental formations, consciousness ceases. Here we should understand very important thing. 5 aggregates can be seen several places. Some places we can see 5 aggregates in the vipaka level. Our first experience. That is neither wholesome nor unwholesome. That should not be overcome. That should be understood. The very first experience, dukkha satyam parinyayam, the noble truth of suffering should be understood. Samudaya satyam pahatabbam, the noble truth of the origin of suffering should be overcome. What is that panchaskandha? The clinging to 5 aggregates, panchupadana which consists with ignorance. That is sakkaya, that is panchupadana skandha, that is tanha or craving, that is avidya, that should be overcome. Samudaya satyam pahatabbam, the noble truth of the origin of suffering should be overcome. And also, nirodha satyam satchikatabbam, the cessation of suffering should be experienced. And also, magga satyam bhavetabbam, the noble truth of the path that leads to getting rid of suffering should be developed. When we practice the Noble Eightfold Path, mindfulness, wisdom, there also we can see 5 aggregates, especially 4 aggregates. Those aggregates should be developed. What are they? They are sanya, sankhara, vijnana should be developed. Chittang, panyancha, bhavyang, their mind or consciousness should be developed. Their sanya, perception, dasa sanya should be developed. According to Girimananda Sutta, that perception should be developed. Dasa sanya, anicca sanya, anatta sanya, the perception of impermanence, the perception of selflessness, those perceptions are wholesome. Those perceptions should be developed. Here, it is very important to understand what noble truth that we practice at this moment. Parinyayam, pahatabbam, satchikatabbam, bhavetabbam. Dukkha satyam parinyayam, samudaya satyam pahatabbam, nirodha satyam satchikatabbam, magga satyam bhavetabbam. Whenever Buddha says us to practice something that belongs to magga satya, whenever Buddha says us to reduce something that belongs to samudaya satya, if Buddha says something to realize or understand, that belongs to dukkha satya. If Buddha says something as to experience that belongs to Nirodha Satya. Having this understanding about the Four Noble Truths, we understand five aggregates, Patisampada, and we meet the path in details, the Noble Eightfold Path. In short, according to Abhiññā Sutta, which comes in Anguttara Nikaya, Buddha says, Abhiññā Pariññeya, Abhiññā Pahatabba, Abhiññā Bhavetabba, Abhiññā Satchikatabba. As a person who is very wise with his supramundane knowledge, he should understand Abhiññā Pariññeya Panchupadana. As a person who is very wise, he should overcome with his supramundane knowledge is that avidya and bhavatanha, ignorance and craving to existence. And also we should realize, we should experience vidya vimukti, knowledge and liberation. As a person who is very wise, that we should practice samatocha vipassanacha, concentration and wisdom. That is very important discourse. Abhiññā Sutta, which comes in Chatukka Nipata in Anguttara Nikaya. Abhiññā Pariññeya, Abhiññā Pahatabba, Abhiññā Satchikatabba, Abhiññā Bhavetabba. Abhiññā Pariññeya Panchupadana. Abhiññā Pahatabba, Avidya Bhavatanha, and especially Abhiññā Bhavetabba, Samatocha Vipassanacha, Abhiññā Satchikatabba, Vidyacha Vimukticha. We should realize, we should understand through our supramundane knowledge is that five aggregates. What is that? That is the Dukkha Satya. They are Dukkha, Samudaya, Magga and Nirodha. Usually we explain the Four Noble Truths, Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, Magga. But here we can say Dukkha, Samudaya, Magga and Nirodha. That is very important. We usually say that there is an order in the Four Noble Truths. Actually in this discourse, the order is different. Have you any question? Difference means actually Four Noble Truths are here, but the order.
We see the difference, but what
Satchikatabba comes at the end, right?
Yes. The Satchikatabba, the Nibbana is final there. Normally we can say in Four Noble Truth, the third level we can say the Nirodha Satya. But this Sutta, Nirodha Satya has come to fourth. And that is a difference. You know, it is not a particular reason, I don't know. But I wanted to say that there are some differences. We can see some doctrines. If we know only one or two things, we think that only this is. Actually, that is why we have to follow several discourses to see this difference. According to Pudgala Vemattata, Buddha has explained this message variously. But the theory is same. It has some differences according to the audience, according to the persons, the nature of their spiritual faculties. Indriya Vemattata.
Actually, that
Abhiññā Bhavetabba, what is that too?
Samatha Vipassana Bhavetabba.
Abhiññā Pariññeya Panchupadana Kanda, Abhiññā Pahatabba, Avidya Bhavatanha, Abhiññā Satchikatabba, Vidya Vimukti, Abhiññā Bhavetabba, Samatocha Vipassanacha. With this understanding of Saddha, we give the priority to practice in our life. This is the priority that we should give in our life. The Abhiññā Sutra is the essence. Our entire effort we should dedicate to realize the five aggregates. Our entire effort we should dedicate to overcome ignorance and attachment. Our entire effort that we should dedicate to realize or achieve vidya, vimukti, knowledge and liberation. our entire effort we should dedicate to practice samatha and vipassana, concentration and wisdom. This is our duty. As our saddha, we should dedicate our entire life for this spiritual life. Then gradually we can develop our other spiritual faculties too, such as virya, energy, mindfulness, sati, samadhi, concentration, and panya, wisdom. Okay.
This is important, Saddha, in balance with panya.
Yes, it is very important. The middle thing is sati or mindfulness. When we are mindful, automatically saddha and panya are control, are balanced. Mindfulness is the main point. That is middle. That is the center. The way how we balance saddha and panya is that mindfulness. If we are mindful, we are able to balance saddha and panya. We should keep our mindfulness in the maximum level, then other things are gradually balanced. The path is that the Noble Eightfold Path. It comes to our life as our lifestyle. That is the way how we live peacefully and happily. Ujuko nam somaggo abhehanam sadisa. This is the direct path. This is the fearless path. We have no fear, no doubt. We can go anywhere. We can associate with anyone. We can live freely as the result of practicing the Noble Eightfold Path in the maximum level. Okay, thank you so much for your active listening and participation. We really appreciate your dedication to the Dhamma. By the power of the Dhamma and listening to Dhamma, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May your all spiritual goals meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantāca nirdukkhaṃ Bhayam pantāca nirbhayam Sokam pantāca nissokam Hontu sambe pipanino. May the Triple Gem bless you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.